Cool, brother. So let's go through the entire thing. I want us to really like break down the entire ecosystem that we have here, the Instagram ecosystem, YouTube, and then obviously the offer, how we built this premium thing. And I'm gonna really let you take the stage here and kind of like walk me through the whole, give me like a bit of a hero journey, like
Mhm.
story with all of this.
With Instagram specifically.
Yeah, with your brand, with Instagram. Let's start with Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, so with Instagram, it all started back in like I want to say 2018. Seriously, wanting to just post more. I wanted to be more well known. Obviously, personal brand wasn't a big thing at that time. People didn't know about it. People
Mm-hmm.
are just now knowing about it now. But the number one thing that I had, the biggest asset that I saw that people wanted was my physique, which is why I was posting a lot of obviously shirtless pictures because I saw that's what all the other fitness influencers were doing. I was posting a lot of just like motivational things, just a whole bunch of different reels. At that time, reels weren't really a thing, so just photos, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to figure out how to monetize it, and I figured, okay, selling fitness would be the best way to go, and that's essentially how it all started. Was just creating content around fitness because that's what was the biggest asset that I had at that time.
Got it. And obviously, I think it was 4 months ago, or like when we start working together.
Yeah, 4 months
Four
ago.
months ago. So it's already been quite like a journey.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Walk me through because I want to obviously dive into the YouTube side of things.
Mm-hmm.
You've been killing it on YouTube for like quite some time now. It's like
A year and a
for
half.
anybody watching, this is like real fucking numbers, real volume.
Yeah.
So it's like I know you went through and we went through a lot of iterations with
Mm-hmm.
the sort of like offer and the angles and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. In the beginning, were you running like the simple sort of like fitness offer?
Yeah, actually, in the beginning, I had no offer at all.
Okay.
I didn't have an offer. I was simply just making videos based on where I was at that time and what I knew, everything that I knew, any thought that popped up. There was no planning at that time. There was no like, okay, what's the angle I'm going to take? What's the
Hmm.
audience I want to build? ICP, none of that stuff. Which, if I look back at it, would have been a lot better, probably would have grown faster, but it worked either way. So,
Sure.
yeah.
And the whole, I think when we started, you kind of wanted to take the whole, because I want to get into like the entire like ecosystem for the offer and
Hmm.
shit.
Hmm.
Obviously, like for, let me just go here
Hmm.
because people have to see this. I posted this on my story, right? Like
Hmm.
we hit 1M with this,
Uh-huh.
600K, so a lot of views.
Uh-huh.
But I think the angle with the offer wasn't really like that defined. So I think
Mhm.
when we started working together, we went with the whole identity shifting, right? And
Yeah.
the whole like angle.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're gonna get into the current offer
Hmm.
and the new angle that is completely destroying the market because people have to know like we're gonna fucking take over. But yeah, like walk me through that sort of like iteration process and what is specifically what obviously is the biggest theme we're talking about here with the whole like playing into the monkey brain
Hmm.
and giving people something they can easily like grasp in terms
Yeah.
of the offer.
Yeah, for sure. So, obviously for me, when I first came into it, I was like, well, I want to be more than just a fitness guy. And I think a lot of my audience knew they saw me as more than that in their minds, but I wanted to solidify it with the content, right? So that's
Hmm.
when I started to create, shadow work and talking about identity shifting and talking about all these different frameworks and psychology, and they were good. And luckily, because I had built a pretty solid audience, I didn't have a crazy dip in terms of views and like subscribers and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But it didn't necessarily match exactly where the monkey brain of the consumer perceived me and what they could get out of it. Like,
Hmm.
for example, you're looking at this now, it's like a full breakdown. This is something that could
Yeah.
literally change somebody's life. I've had clients that it's worked for them, right? But when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to content and just your brand in general, like what we've always talked about, it's like people need to see something that they can relate to in their journey, and it has to be something that the brain can easily digest. The brain can't easily digest shadow work like we've talked about.
Yeah.
It can't even easily digest identity shifting. It sounds very, very good. It sounds very high level. It sounds expensive, but it
Hmm.
doesn't sound emotional, right? It doesn't sound like something that draws on someone's emotion. When someone gets upset at themselves, they don't say, "Oh, I need to shift my identity."
There you go.
Like they say, "Fuck, I need to lose this weight," or "I need to be more attractive for women," or
Hmm.
"I need to make more money." Like those are the things, and that's why health, wealth, relationships will always sell, right? We know this because that's essentially what draws on emotions,
Yeah.
you know? But yeah.
Even with this, you were selling because essentially before we
Hmm.
built this initial like 5K offer, now
Hmm.
we're kind of like transitioning into even like a more premium one.
Hmm.
And this is just the beginning. You were selling basically a bunch of like all of these like smaller
Yeah,
courses,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I know you had a lot of results with specifically this, like
Hmm.
teaching people with how to build their personal brand on
Yeah.
YouTube. But I think one of the most successful where you saw the proof of concept was this like jacked,
The
right?
fitness thing was getting bought the most,
Yeah.
and yeah, like the personal brand thing, even with YouTube, you can even look through it. It's like I got to a point where I had a whole video series around personal branding, and like I was going in that direction to say, okay, this is where I want YouTube to go,
Mm-hmm.
to be the personal brand guy, because that's clearly like the highest value skill that I believed I could sell. Now, the issue with that is, again, you told me this. It's like, well, they started with fitness. That's what people started with you on. So
Yeah.
when you move out of that, it's a big shock to a consumer's brain when they see something that's completely new, that's not as recognizable in terms of a pattern. So even though it's really good value and someone could actually get something out of it,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't necessarily register in their mind that this is the person that should be teaching me this. It's like,
Bingo.
wait, this person, I came to him for the physique stuff, for the social intelligence with women and like how your physique translates to social settings and stuff. That was my whole entire MO.
Yeah.
So pivoting around like that definitely destroyed a lot of momentum over time.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, because the video still did well and I was able to always come back, as you can see, like I always go back to a certain baseline, it just picks back up again. And it was almost like running away from what was working and going towards something, again, shiny object syndrome, you know?
Yeah, because I think for you and for like a lot of people that I work with is it's the whole we're talking about it constantly. It's the whole fact like you're being like you're a multi-dimensional person.
Hmm.
Like it's not like you only have this one dimension, right?
Hmm.
So it was for us. I think the whole iteration process, and I'm gonna dive into the current page of the offer and stuff. But it was the whole how do I take literally all of this fucking knowledge that I
Hmm.
have
Hmm.
and package it into a tangible
Hmm.
offer, right?
Hmm.
Like, would you say that was the like the biggest
Yeah,
the biggest thing in this journey?
that I would say that, and also what is something that people would actually buy.
Mm,
What is the one thing? Because the problem is, and that's what I ran into was, well, yeah, all of these things can be packaged up into one, but will someone actually implement that framework to get the results that you had? Because
bingo.
people want your results, but they can't get your results. They can only get part of your results. They can get one aspect of your results, So that's part of it.
Got it. Okay, let's dive into the page
Yeah.
because this is I think is gonna be like a lot of sauce for anyone
Yeah.
anyone watching. So this is the new shit that we got, right? Like we went from the whole identity shifting, like shadow integration stuff to a much more like clear and on point like
Emotional
offer.
driving offer. Yep.
Walk us through. I'm gonna like slowly scroll through it.
Hmm.
Walk us. So first of all, let's just scroll through it a bit. Let's
Mhm.
just go through the entire thing and
Mhm.
then go through it step by step because I really want us to go into the whole because it looks like by this time like anyone who watches this knows like whatever I touch in terms of branding turns into fucking gold.
100%.
You're a killer with content, so the combo is lethal already. But there's a lot of psychology that goes into it,
Mhm.
right? So it's not like we just went with the basic like fitness. Because I
Mhm.
also want you to touch on this. Like this is not a basic
Mhm.
fitness coach sort of offer. Like I'm
Mhm.
gonna give you some protocols, some trainings, and no that
Mhm.
because we're trying to go premium, right? So let me just scroll through this because this is the page.
Mhm.
And obviously our whole and my entire thesis is we want to build something that is like stands out like not another fucking funnel or bullshit VSL, and this is like what we have, the final sort of like version for now of
Mhm.
this, right? So just slowly gonna scroll through this now. Let's take it from the top. What is the biggest, which I think was the entire process for both of us in this,
Mhm.
throughout these months, the biggest realization with this with the offer?
The biggest realization was that if you're making an offer and people are, let's say, following you, or they see you, they basically want to be you as their final version, right? And we had to kind of come up with what's the tagline or what's the actual thing that is the final version, which is why we said, okay, status symbol, become a status symbol. Now, and the whole other thing was, how do we transcend what the value already is, which is fitness? How do you go beyond it, right? What are you going to get with fitness? And yeah, if it's for successful entrepreneurs, which is who we strategically targeted, because those are the highest quality buyers, right? And also that aligns with my background, because that's another thing. A lot of fitness coaches, they try to target people who they have no idea what goes through their head.
Yeah.
So they can't talk to those people.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can target people that you already know, now you have to say, okay, what's the new identity of that person that they need to be? Okay, a status symbol. You go from invisible, nobody knows you, to now you're a status symbol. And as well as sex appeal, right? Because what is it? All men, they want to have the ability to attract women.
Mm-hmm.
So there has to be that play in there so that people feel like they're getting so much more than just a meal plan, um, training program, and just like,
Because they could get that with ChatGPT.
literally.
That's the thing. I think a lot of fitness coaches, and obviously you're not a fitness coach. Like I want to highlight that. But the whole fitness niche, I think they're so obsessed with like, I'm gonna do this training protocol, whatever program, but people can build that shit on Claude.
Mhm.
So it's like, where's the? Remember, like I posted this on story. Like for anyone watching, like follow me on Instagram. Like whenever you sell an offer, let's say fitness in this case, or relationships or whatever, don't just sell the, oh, I'm gonna get you in good physique, because that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just the surface level stuff. Think about what does that transformation that you provide, what, like on the back end, what is the actual core benefit
Mhm.
and byproduct of that, and you sell that. So in other words, you don't sell like, oh, just another fitness offer. No, you figure out, for example, we're targeting, right, like guys that already quote unquote made it on paper.
Mhm.
But we posted it, like the vlog from Dubai. I'm gonna pull it up right now, like in the background as I'm talking. Like you were telling me this, like there are a bunch of people, kids with like supercars, but nobody gives a fuck about them,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So it's like you sell that deep desire
Mhm.
to like finally, be visible
Mhm.
and be respected,
Mhm.
and that's how you win. That's how you position. That's how we can charge like 5K plus
And
for an offer like
and
this.
even for that, it's interesting, and we have that there. We have the cars, we have all that there, and I think it's strategic because if it's, let's say, a run of the mill fitness coach that doesn't have access to those things, that's telling you, and this is why I think a lot of the fitness coaches who try to market to entrepreneurs and say, oh, like the money doesn't matter, it's all about your body, but they don't have it, so they can't really sell that angle. It's like,
Yeah.
imagine you have access to that stuff and you're showing that, look, I have access to that, and I'm telling you that this is actually what's going to do it. That hits a lot harder, which is why a lot of fitness coaches can't target those types of demographics with their messaging, and it gets them to trust you a lot more.
Bingo.
So
Because it's like people have to see that, just like in the vlog that we did, right?
Mhm.
Look at here. People have to see you with the cars. They have to see you with the lifestyle. But you also, what you just posted, I think, on Twitter, was like, yeah, you can rent out the supercars, but you cannot rent out the physique.
exactly,
Right.
exactly.
And so that's basically what we're doing, is like targeting what we call like the GQ methods.
Mhm.
And obviously we're going to get into the actual like nerdy stuff of
Mhm.
building the offer and the framework behind that.
Mhm.
But what's kind of like this, I know the big thesis is basically what we have here, right?
Mhm.
Like look like you belong on the cover of GQ, not in the gym.
Yep.
Because if we're talking about the ICP, like this entrepreneur that's already made it,
Mhm.
realistically, when they see an offer like this, they have to think, oh, this needs to work for me because I don't have a lot of time.
Bingo, bingo. And that's the big thing, right? It's like, one, they don't have a lot of time, and two, they don't want to look like someone who is not of high status, right? Because entrepreneurs do care about status, of course, because they know that how they present themselves is how people are going to perceive them, which is going to dictate how that business interaction is going to go. And again, the problem with the fitness industry is it doesn't necessarily fit with a lot of entrepreneurial ideals, because you don't want to look dysfunctional, right? You don't want to look like
Yeah.
you're some guy with like muscles that just got attached to you. And no, you want to look like well put together. You want to look good in a suit. A lot of these bodybuilders that try to market to entrepreneurs, you've never seen them in a suit, or you've never seen them in like nice clothing. They don't dress very well. The entrepreneur always has to dress well if he's presenting himself. So that's the whole GQ thing, is like, look like you're supposed to be on a magazine cover,
Yeah.
not like the bodybuilder volume 3 or like bodybuilding.com volume 3. Like, that's not the goal for an entrepreneur.
Because
you
it's
know?
also the perceived effort that they
Right.
have to go through. And
Bingo.
whenever you're building an offer, that's what we did with this. It's
Mhm.
like you optimized for essentially getting what you said here, like 45-minute workouts. Boom.
Mhm.
Like get people in that mindset of like, oh shit, this is easy. Like
Yes.
I can do this. It doesn't take like forever. Because that will allow you to essentially, and it allows us to sell this way easier
Right.
than having to tell people like, yeah, this takes, because this is what, 90 days,
90
right?
days.
90 days.
And that's what's crazy too. And even looking at the market and what's there, fitness coaches now, their content shows how hard they work in the gym,
Interesting.
right?
Okay.
All of their content is like grind, grind, grind. I'm in the gym all day. If you want to sell to a demographic with money, the one scarce resource that they have is time.
It's time.
So if you're saying, oh, this is a grind, you have to like do all this stuff and like you're David Goggins, you're doing this. No entrepreneur that's actually smart and actually understands their problems is going to buy that
Nobody
because
wants that.
they want ease. They want saving time. They don't care about saving money. They care about saving time. So all of these guys, they like to go the whole saving money route. Like, oh, this is cheaper than this is cheaper than that. It's like, no, this is premium, but it's going to save you the time that you want to maybe be with your wife or hang out with your girlfriend if it's your girlfriend, or have time to yourself to run your own business. Now your physique and your body and your gym routine, your diet is all going to be on autopilot, a system rather than homework.
Bingo.
You know what I mean? So
Because nobody wants that. Like, and I think regardless of the niche, is very important to what we have here. Go beyond, and this applies to business, relationships, fucking like real estate, whatever offer you have. I have a lot of people nowadays with like fashion stylists and stuff. Don't sell the whole like, yeah, I'm gonna just like help you do that. Think about, there are some like deep, we call it like the monkey brain.
mhm,
What are the monkey brain like desires, and play into the ego of that and
mhm.
sell that, which is why I think even this, I know we spent, it was like what, 2 hours
2 hours
just
on
like,
just the headline.
just so everybody can get a perspective on like, this is not chat gpt like
Mhm,
random stuff.
mhm,
This is all like, you want to be, it's that quote, right? Like simplicity is the highest form of sophistication. So you
mhm,
want to be as simple as possible, but target the monkey brain.
mhm,
Target this, like, because whenever guys see this like sex appeal of an elite athlete in less than 90 days,
mhm,
this is something huge that I want to touch on. Whenever you guys are building an offer, make sure you set, it's the whole Hormozy equation, right? So the perceived effort is got to be super super low,
mhm,
because if they think it was what you said, if they think, oh my god, this is going to take 24 months for me, nobody wants that shit.
mhm,
Nobody. And this is obviously, we're talking about premium offers for premium people and
mhm.
premium audiences that actually like have the money to spend. Good. So I think with this, it's pretty. Walk me through a bit of just from your perspective as a coach,
Mhm.
because I think this was also like, and we know,
Mhm.
you got what for the first offer that was around 5K,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
You got it 12 clients or how many?
12, yeah.
Yeah, 12. So that's close to like 35 ish or something. Math,
Uh,
quick math.
5 times 12. I mean, no, that's like 60.
Okay, yeah, my math is, because I know you had like some people.
Yeah, the cash collected
Yeah,
was
cash
like
collect.
32, 33-ish. Yeah.
Good. And I know for with that offer, because again, it wasn't that hyper focused
Mhm.
on a transformation. It was a bit more general.
Yeah.
You struggled a lot with like
Yes.
the, I mean, not a lot, but you struggled a bit with the whole like fulfillment and
Yeah.
just like doing. How important is like having a method like this in place for you? Like just step by step, literally walk them through the entire thing.
Yeah, it's very important because this is almost like a plug and play system, but it's also customized to a certain extent to where like it will work with if I'm targeting that exact ICP and I get that same person over and over and over again, the system works over and over and over again. There are entrepreneurs like to call this KPIs, right? There are KPIs you need to reach. There are specific things that you have to do. It doesn't feel like therapy coaching, right? Because that's what the whole like one-on-one life coaching, even self-improvement coaching is like. You're literally just an emotional tampon for a lot of people,
Yeah.
because that's the thing. When you don't have specific like quantifiable goals, like, hey, this guy's overweight, let's have him lose 30 pounds, that's quantifiable, or this guy wants to make X amount of money in X amount of time, again, quantifiable. You have to almost like, you have to compensate for that with high emotional buy-in. like high
Mhm.
emotional, just like charging, and every call has to be just an emotional transfer.
Yeah.
That becomes the value versus the actual system that gets them the results. You know?
And they're both valuable, but I think having this in place just takes away a lot of that stress. Like, what the fuck do I do once the clients do get in?
Yeah.
Because we already, and even with the fitness software that you had before, I think you had plenty of like proof of concept.
Yeah. 100%.
But this is just on, and again, I want to highlight this.
Steroids.
It is on steroids, literally.
No pun intended.
It's still, yeah. I mean, yeah, we're not doing steroids. It's fine. It is still like focused around fitness, but it's not presented as this typical, like, you guys can look through the fucking page. Like, it's not a typical like before and after, and I'm gonna give you some protocols. Because again, as long as you target these people and this sort of like benefits, and I know you have like Anthony here. If we scroll down, and you have like some big, you work with some big brands.
Oh,
like
yeah. Yeah.
Anthony killed it, right? Like,
Yep.
you've got the testimonial here. And I
Another-
think it's super interesting. I want to mention this for everybody watching who's a
Mhm.
coach, guide, whatever, mentor. Anthony said, and if you guys don't know Anthony, like, he's huge in business,
Yeah.
right? He said like he used to use like ChatGPT as his coach, right? So I think it's the whole, how do I position myself in a more premium way
Mhm.
so that we're close into 2026 now. A lot of
Mhm.
people just literally use AI and ChatGPT
100%.
for coaching. So it's like, how does your offer play into that? Like, do you
Mhm.
actually provide a transformation with a specific protocol
Mhm.
in a premium way, or are you just another commodity?
Mhm.
I know you had this guy like
Yep.
Nate's,
Yep.
right?
That was a pure, like, yeah, changed his whole life. Like that one little aspect being changed, like,
Bingo.
changed everything else, which is exactly what we're talking about. One thing, you get one aspect to change and it feeds into other aspects. And imagine if I told him, like, hey, actually, I'm going to help you with business. I'm going to help you with your relationships. I'm going to help you with, I literally just helped him transform his physique. And he was like, this is what it did for me. My business deals, I was closing a lot more. Like, that's essentially selling the outcome.
Selling the outcome, bingo. Selling the byproduct of that transformation. You can look it in here, like, him building his self-discipline. It all like bled into the respect that he got from his family and just overall like better relationships. So
And-
you sell that.
And even seeing the page now, it's we're not spamming it with a bunch of before and after pictures,
No.
right? Because
Bingo.
that's another thing. A lot of fitness coaches, their entire page is before and after pictures. What does that do? That makes you a commodity, right? I would rather have holistic transformations. Like, this is what fitness did. Like someone doing a video testimonial and saying what fitness did for them in other areas of their life, because that's the value proposition of this. The value proposition isn't to help you lose 30 pounds so you don't go to the hospital. Like, that's what a traditional fitness coach would say. It's like,
Mhm.
no, lose the weight to look good so that you can represent yourself and so that you can also have the energy to do X, Y, and Z in other areas of life. So that's why we selectively pick specific, like those specific transformations to show for this, because it transcends just the fitness coach,
For sure.
you know?
And even stuff like this where like somebody else might have been like, let me just do this whole complex thing
Mhm.
of like showing this is the percentage of like fat you lose, whatever. We just like do something like this where it looks, obviously
Bingo.
looks like literally like the GQ cover type,
Yep.
but it's still like, is very, and you know me, like my entire thesis is like, we want it to look clean
Mhm.
and just easy for everybody to understand. So we also leave it, and this is another thing, we also want to leave a door open for those high level executives who do not want, and this is just on a pure aspect, like visual level, who do not want a typical VSL
Mhm.
guy,
Mhm.
right? Who's like before and after, before and after, before and after, book a call, boom, 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 right? This is just like off of just like a visual aspect, is literally like, I don't even have to say it, but like it's positioned.
It's like the Apple of fitness.
Bingo. And I told you, like, everything that we're building is like Apple level.
Yeah.
We got also like social proof here. This
Mhm.
is very important because I don't think you had this before,
No.
right? Like with the whole,
No.
and you did work with guys that worked
Yeah.
at Google.
Guys that work with
You
Google.
literally were
I
a
work-
professional
I-
coach at Equinox.
Yep. Guys that worked at Booz Allen Hamilton, partnerships like fitness sponsorships that I've had, Therabody, Jackson, like all these brands that are related to this, because that's the whole thing. Status symbol, right? That means you're associated with other big brands.
Bingo.
That's the whole entire thing. So that was good that you added
Yeah, that was amazing. We can get into now the whole like ICP and the customer journey that we built for this, because again, there's a lot of there's a lot of fucking science behind this. Like, it's not just like us sitting here and throwing some random like images and pictures. There's a lot of like psychology that goes into it, and I think a lot of people try to bypass this initial. And I know you as well, with like just sitting and iterating
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over again. But that's a superpower,
Mm-hmm.
because like you have to go through all of these processes to get super close to the actual like perfect messaging. But just this is obviously like taking people to apply to have a conversation with you.
Mm-hmm.
But just because we didn't build like it's your typical VSL funnel or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
give me a bit of like insight in terms of, or not insight, but how much did, even with the previous page that we did,
Mm-hmm.
which doesn't even come close to this
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, how much did this, like, did it have an impact in terms of the clients that you got and like the actual like price? Because obviously this is the elephant in the room, like you
Mm-hmm.
want to charge more,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, did it have an impact in terms
100%.
of?
I mean, of course it did, because this is essentially what people see, and they already think about it like it's going to be this massive, like the experience by itself is going to be worth the money. Like seeing this,
Mm-hmm.
they already clock in like this is not some cheap like fitness coach offer, right? This is like a real, and even just the way that my brand is positioned, and even how everything's changing in terms of the thumbnails and how
Yeah.
things are starting to look now more like premium. People will inherently know like this is something that was thought about beforehand. This wasn't just another template,
Yeah.
which means this isn't going to be just another coach. This is going to be a completely different experience. I'm going to be put through a system. I'm going to know exactly what it is I need to do. It becomes a company rather than just a
Bingo.
coaching hobby.
Bingo.
You know what I mean?
And also, like, because I know we're cooking like fire thumbnails on YouTube and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like on this video, like the athlete aura, because this
Mhm.
is again the angle.
Mm-hmm.
Like people saying, oh, people notice in real time. Like, wait a minute, the style is kind of like elevated,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's amazing, because it literally, what we did with the vlog in Dubai as well. You guys can watch that. Is it signals the start of a new sort of like chapter
Mhm.
that just goes beyond the typical like. I think for both of us, like our philosophy is like you just want to go against the wave and just build something like fucking epic.
Yeah.
Like, don't try to fit in. Don't try to be like everyone else.
100%.
That's what I'm telling everyone. It's like, if you work with me, I'm not gonna fucking like build a VSL for you, like a funnel. Because if we're talking funnel and stuff, all of this shit just to show people, it's like you want to make sure your Instagram is on point.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I know you do like reels.
Yeah.
Even talking
Still
heads.
figuring out the real situation, but yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
we're gonna take off on Instagram. Instagram is next, and then Twitter, or
Yeah.
Twitter before.
X, yeah.
But the whole thing is like, I know you have a setter right
Mhm.
now as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole thing is you send people to now the new page,
Mhm.
and you also have a DM sort of like keyword,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
people can get into a conversation with that.
Yeah.
We could probably talk about like the DM and the whole process like
Mhm.
constantly, but give me just a bit of, because we were talking about it today. The whole basically you want to target people in this demographic, like the
Mhm.
ICP,
Mm-hmm.
and just figure out what they try, what they've been trying so far,
Mhm.
right? And get them on a call, essentially,
Mhm.
get them on a conversation.
Literally.
And right now it's so much easier, I know, for your setter, because you said this, to promote this and to push this, because it's not the whole abstract.
Bingo. And that was the biggest issue with DMs.
Yeah.
Is like when you have such a broad offer, and that's what I'm saying, a lot of guys want to be like in self-improvement and like masculinity and stuff like that. Those are great top of funnel themes, but when it comes to an actual thing that someone's going to pay for,
Mhm.
it has to solve a specific problem. Like Apple didn't just start out with this laptop, the phone, the
Yeah.
iPad, everything. You get all of that in one. No, they started with a phone and they expanded from there. They built an ecosystem from there.
Bingo.
So it's like with the whole multidimensionally jacked offer, like that whole thing, which was more personal development, self-improvement, broad. It was like, imagine you get into the DMs with somebody, and again, it wasn't my setter's fault. It was my fault for not having a clear offer. But it's like, well, what are you struggling with in health, wealth, relationships, all in one? Someone's like, what?
Yeah, it was like too broad, like too much.
I think fitness and women, like I guess, and then that becomes an awkward conversation. Versus, and also the content doesn't necessarily convert because it's so broad that
Mhm.
it portrays something, but it's also like, what does this tie to? What is this meaning? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very, you see, like one thing is talking about porn. It's like, what is that? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of just like getting all of this content out there just to get it out there, but not tying it back to the offer, and then going in and trying to get an offer out to somebody that they don't even understand. They're like, yeah, multidimensionally jacked. Again, people who follow me on YouTube
Yeah.
or subscribe to me, they know what that is, which
They
is why
know.
I was able to get the clients that I had with that offer. But the reality is, people, when it comes to cold traffic or people who don't follow me on Instagram or on YouTube,
Mhm.
they don't know what that is. But they understand anything that's single-handedly health, wealth, or relationships, one or the other.
Yeah.
That's what they know. So,
And it's the whole, I think the whole direction, especially with Instagram, like aesthetic wise, it just signals that. What I love about it is that it's congruent with
now it's becoming very
the
congruent.
page.
Right?
So it's literally what you see on YouTube, what you see on Instagram is literally what you see on this page. I think a lot of people make the mistake of like, we do this over here, but then on the page is something else.
That was my biggest problem too, is congruency across all platforms. Because on Instagram there was one show going on YouTube there was another show going on.
Yeah.
So there's a disconnect, and it confuses people on like, okay, who is this guy and what does he have to offer? Again, this goes back to the whole, everyone says build a personal brand, like talk about whatever it is that you want, but you also have to be strategic with how do you position yourself, like how do you include everything that you like, but also tie it back to the one mechanism that people already know you for.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Awesome. Speaking of the whole like setter having an issue with like the ICP and stuff, let's quickly dive into this because I think it's so important to kind of like touch on the behind the scenes, like what goes on into building something like this. So it's like what we call like the ICP, like the ideal customer profile. We actually sat down and like we mapped this out, right? Because it's really important. So for anyone watching, again, you can see here, this is basically what you want to do. You want to be super, even down to the name of it. Like you want to create the persona of your like ideal client, right? How old is he? The gender, location, right? Are they single? Are they in a relationship? Do they have children? What is their occupation title? For example, for us, we're targeting these people. We're not targeting people that have never done anything in life.
Yeah, because the whole thesis is, so what we realized was if you're broke, you have to go make money.
Bingo.
That's what it is. Figure it out. Go get a job. Go do something. Go figure out opportunities. If you're rich, you probably should get in shape because now you have the money and you have the resources to invest in yourself to make yourself better.
Yeah.
That's why we go after the people who have the resources but don't necessarily have the time. So we give them the system to save them time.
And this is also one thing that I want to touch on. A lot of people want to build like a premium offer, and let's say they actually can provide like a premium transformation, but they're trying to sell to broke people. And so just this pivot alone, I think like this, especially with the new model that we're going with, you going for the scale aspect and like building out the operations of it, this can go to the fucking moon.
100%.
And it will. And again, you guys can see here like hobbies, activities, right? So what do they actually do? Where do they go to like exclusive restaurants? Do they like and I know to some people it might be like, why do I have to do this? It's because you have to get into the mind of the person that you're trying to sell to. For example, this guy might go to a golf club, right? But he's not respected there because he's in fucking like bad shape, right? So he knows deep down, like, fuck, I would want to go to the golf club and actually get the respect from my peers, from that lady at the reception that she just ignores me like every time. So that's why you got to map this out and genuinely talk to people. How do you do this? Talk to people. You can even use AI. We have like Perplexity, all of these AIs that do deep research. Go on Twitter, right? You're big on Twitter. Go on Twitter and analyze again what we call the monkey brain. What do people actually want? And build this out because it's going to be so much easier for building SOPs, for example, for appointment setters. This is how you approach this conversation because you already know who you're talking to. Interests, right? So business growth, scaling strategies, all of this, like dating, relationships. So getting into that, values and beliefs, this is all huge.
Excellence in all areas of life. Yep. Tangible
Bingo.
results over process, 100%.
Physical appearance directly impacts business success. This is a huge thing because we're not just, I'm not going to drop any names, but I've spoken to a lot of fitness coaches that want to work with me, right? And they're like, yeah, I want to sell this fitness program. And I'm like, why? What do you mean why? What's the actual thing that you're selling? well, getting them abs. Yeah, but what does that do for them? So that's the thing that we're after. Opinions like worldview, right? So bingo, this for example, this is a huge thing because a lot of people are skeptical with
Mhm,
this
mhm,
is why the angle is like that, because it's not your typical bullshit fitness.
mhm.
Like believes bodybuilders and power lifters have
That
the
was a
wrong
big one.
physique.
And even so, I was doing bodybuilding for a while.
Yeah.
And, luckily I had some entrepreneurial experience to also speak to those types of people. But the first thing they would say, they would work with me, but they would say, to be honest, I don't want to look like that. I don't want to look like a big bodybuilder. Like, I don't want that. And obviously in my head, I'm like, all right, fucking retarded. You're not going to look like a bodybuilder. You know how much dedication and work it takes to do this. But it goes back to the whole thing. It's like, they believe that category of people have the wrong physique.
Boom.
So if you're a bodybuilder, you can't necessarily, I mean, you can sell to entrepreneurs, but they're not going to respect you as much off the bat.
No.
You know?
And that's why we came up with the whole like athlete angle.
Yeah.
Like in the GQ angle.
Yeah.
And again, views fitness as a business tool, not separate from business. Very
Right.
good, right? Brand affinities. So we're talking again, guys, get super fucking specific with everything like this.
Mhm.
What do they like in terms of brands? What cars do they like?
Mhm.
What do they even like this?
Credit cards.
Credit cards. They stay at Four Seasons, right? Why? Because when we're running ads, we can target these things.
Mhm.
We can target these interests, right? A lot of people just target entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
but a lot of broke people are interested in entrepreneurship,
100%.
right?
Broke
But
people don't know Brioni.
bingo,
They don't know Zegna.
bingo. There we go. So we got that. What else? Media channels, right? So where do they hang out essentially?
Mhm.
I know for you, X is
Mhm.
amazing for like sniping some very like high level
Mhm.
people and
Mhm.
leads. YouTube, obviously, we
Mhm.
got a lot of data from your YouTube,
Mhm.
LinkedIn, all of this, and creators, influencers they follow. So again, you got to be super specific, and this is huge. What are their external needs
Mhm.
of the ICP? So the obvious external needs. So they might want to, in this case, lose fat,
Mhm.
build visible like muscle definition,
Mhm.
look good in suits, look attractive. They want to have like the diet strategy, whatever, something that works while traveling constantly. Because again, this ICP does travel a lot,
Mhm.
but they also have some internal needs, which if we target these with the content,
Mhm.
that's gonna make them go, oh fuck, like how does this guy know what I want like deep within?
Mhm.
So this is what we call like the sort of like ICP magnetic messaging. It's
Mhm.
like you want to mirror their internal sort of like language.
Mhm.
Because this is stuff that they usually they don't say out loud
Mhm.
in sales calls, but
Mhm.
you know deep down if you map them out, you know where they're at.
Mhm.
This is another huge thing that I'm doing with everyone. So it's like you gotta have the statement of the offer or like
Mhm.
the why behind
Mhm.
it all, because this is obviously super helpful. Um, Feelings about people like this. So this is, I know we're going like super geek mode in here,
Mhm.
dreams, hopes, all of this,
Very useful
the
to create
fears,
something.
but it's very useful because when you do get in a conversation, this applies to the appointment setter, the sales calls, you know, even before an objection. That's why like pretty much 95% of the calls that you had with the guys from the first offer, they were like without objections, right?
Oh, I had 0 objections. I didn't have one.
So that's the thing when you actually apply all of this. What else? We got a customer journey map, right? So this is very interesting
Mhm.
because basically the customer journey map involves you mapping out specific triggers for awareness,
Mhm.
interest, right? Desire,
Mhm.
then the conversion stage. These are all of the different stages, and then finally them advocating for your being them becoming your super fans.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we map all of this out. So for example, what triggers their awareness, right? What are some problems they notice?
Mhm.
They don't recognize themselves like they're successful in business but soft physically.
Mhm.
Notices successful peers that command more attention and respect. We know about the guys in Monaco that get out of the supercar and nobody fucking notices them.
Mhm.
They feel invisible. All of this, right? Like thoughts at this stage. Why do I look like this when I've achieved so much?
Mhm.
And how can someone apply this like on a practical level? It's like what you're doing with YouTube. You may start off a video saying, well, I know you might be an entrepreneur sitting there and thinking to yourself, why do I look like this when I've achieved so much?
Mhm.
Bingo. And that's
Mhm.
the internal language that they have.
Mhm.
Emotions, again, the frustration, map all of this out, actions that they take at this stage, and then you go walk people, you map this out for each of these stages. So
Mhm.
interest. what actually captures their interest
Mm-hmm.
for you.
Mm-hmm.
Literally the most viral video. What being a personal trainer taught me about women.
Mm-hmm.
All of this content, questions they ask, again, questions forming the emotions. This is all like really in depth. The desire stage. What makes them want the transformation? Like, what is the internal desire that they like that they have?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Imagine what attraction life could be like for them. Their relationship, everything. Desire to feel dangerous.
To feel complete, right?
To
To
feel
have the complete
complete.
package. They already have the money. They already probably have the wife, maybe, but they just don't have the look that they want, which completes the whole package for them.
Bingo. And yeah, what they compare you with. This is huge. Conversion, for example, what moves them to buy. This is why it's important to build a map like this. Like what would be like a final objection, right? Because when you map this out, like what if I fail again? Can I really commit to 90 days right now? All of this, then you know, even before a conversation, you know what to do to tackle that.
Mm-hmm.
And you build around that.
Mm-hmm.
Triggers that tip, get them over the edge, like to make the decision.
Mm-hmm.
The guarantee, like eliminating basically all risk,
Mm-hmm.
right? Realizing 90 days from now he'll either look the same or look exceptional, which
Mm-hmm.
is fucking huge.
Mm-hmm.
People again play into people's egos.
Mm-hmm.
People are gonna comment on their physique, boom,
Mhm.
and they need that. And then obviously, what turns them into super fans?
Mm-hmm.
So them, and I think you already have the results with people.
Yeah,
Like,
this is every single time, and this is with every person who's the ideal client has gotten exactly this. Maybe not suits, maybe it's just clothes, but it's the same thing. Week 2, noticeable change. Face leaning out, body fat percentage dropping. They're like, what the fuck is going on? Week 4, everything's fitting better. Somebody told them, wow, like you look way different now, right? Week 6, visible abs start to show. Their confidence is going through the roof. They're showing me their physique on the screen when I talk to them for the halfway point. Um, yeah, it's just crazy. Like all of this stuff is exactly like mapping it out helps you understand like this is what you can start to project on a sales call. You know.
bingo. And I know we had this as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we can then wrap it up with this. So as soon as you have all of this, you want to build like a premium offer framework, so you understand what is the actual process that you're going to take them through, what is the core promise, the time frame, and all of that. Because the clearer you are with this, the easier it's going to be for you to deliver, and as a coach for you to eliminate all of that stress of like, how the fuck do I deliver? Right? So for us, it was like, get the high status physique. We already have this, right? The core promise. So again, the core promise has to literally, if I ask you on point blank, like, what's your core promise right now? You got to be able to say this in like 2 seconds, and for it to make sense. Time frame, less than 90 days. Boom. So it's like immediately when you pitch someone like something like this to someone like the ICP, they're going to be like, oh, just 12 weeks, even faster than that. You can do an expanded transformation statement, which we also did, like transform from an out of shape entrepreneur who doesn't match his success into a man with magazine worthy aesthetics. Everybody can understand that.
Yeah.
Can understand it.
Clear.
And it's like build a lean, proportionate, elegant physique that looks incredible in suits and on beaches in Mykonos. So again, this is like understanding where do they go.
Yeah. And it also like removes the people who are not in the ICP because they might not even know where Mykonos or Monaco. They don't know where any of those places are.
Especially Monaco. And this is branding, right? And this is the marketing side of things. So you want to name your, and I know we went through a bunch of these iterations and names. Right now we're on the GQ method, right? Which is literally this. Like it makes you look like you belong on the cover of a magazine, not in the gym. And then this is what we talked about on the website. So have some specific protocol or like pillars or phases for the offer. So you know, for example, for this, we have pillar 1, aesthetic training protocols. So this is basically on a very like overview level. Walk me through this. What does this do?
Yeah, so this essentially teaches them a little bit more about what it is that they're going to be getting, because even during this process, yes, everything's going to be done for them, but they also have supporting material to go through to understand why it is that they're doing what they're doing, not because just to give them extra things to do, but to also equip them with the knowledge to do this on their own. Because my whole goal with any fitness offer that I've ever had, fitness-based offer, was to equip them with the knowledge to do it on their own after the fact. Usually they stay only because they like the service, but all of these pillars just give them an understanding of why I'm implementing what I'm implementing into their actual protocol.
Bingo. And pillar 2 again, lean luxury diet.
Yeah, again, just a fancier name, but also a name that sits well with them because, okay, lean luxury diet. This is interesting, right? Going through understanding, okay, intermittent fasting, fruit fasting, I do that as well. Like
Mhm.
understanding, what happens, like checkpoints during that process, like making sure that they actually hit those checkpoints for that specific phase, right? Attraction accelerator, same thing, right? Understanding, okay, when I get the first external validation, right? How much increased attention will I get from the opposite sex? More respect in meetings, right? These are checkpoints to make sure that they're actually getting there, again, to make everything quantifiable for them.
Amazing. And the last one is
This
executive.
is lifestyle integration. So this is more important for entrepreneurs than anybody else because entrepreneurs need their lifestyle to be integrated into the whole fitness thing. They can't make it seem like it can't feel like it's just something that's separate from their life, or else they just won't do it. It's not a priority, right? So this is like hotel gym hacks, right? Some workouts that they can do when they travel, travel nutrition systems so they can stay lean in any city, morning routines that they can do to make sure that they're performing at the highest level, stress management without the meditation monk BS that
Mm-hmm.
gets pushed out, right? How to make fitness enhance business, literally giving them tips on how to integrate that into their business, right? So again, it's just tying everything together, giving them extra resources so that they can actually use the system
Yeah.
outside of just the gym. And that's what makes this extremely valuable.
And for them to actually get results, because I think, there's nothing wrong with selling a course.
Mhm.
It's just without the actual like guidance and some specific protocols for implementation,
Yeah.
a lot of people are not even going to take the action.
No.
So it's all like mental masturbation. So
100%.
this is why this is like super important. And then obviously we have the pricing sort of like scheme,
Mhm.
which I think we're gonna still like test.
Mhm.
But I think for you again, like the 3K or 5K is the,
Mhm.
like minimum. I wouldn't even go below that.
Mhm.
And then obviously this is something huge that I want to touch on. There has to be a point where you go from, because we're both doing one-on-one coaching, right?
Mhm.
There has to be a point where you're like, okay, if I want to scale this, I want to transition into a more like a group sort of like systemized model,
Yeah.
which again provides the implementation, but
Mhm.
allows you to also like have some time,
Mhm.
which I think is going to be huge as well.
Which is also another point. It's very important to nail the ICP because you can actually do group with that. That was another problem that I had with the previous offer. It was so broad
Mm-hmm.
and the ICP was so broad that there was no way to put them in a group because they all had different goals. They all were in different stages of life. They all didn't really have the same worldviews. You get the same person doing this same process over and over again, obviously customized to them. You put them in a group with other people who are similar to them, that is like 10x the value of what they paid for.
Bingo. Because
know?
then what you said as well, some guy is gonna go in there on the call
Mhm.
and be like, "Oh, I got these results,"
Mhm.
like on a physique, and some other guy who has access to the very same information
Mhm.
might not get those same results, but it's gonna be the whole like accountability, but also like urgency. Like,
Mhm.
fuck, I'm in this group. Like,
Mhm.
I see these guys get the results. I'm
Mhm.
not getting that.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is huge. Why now? Again, this is very important. Like, think about whenever you're building an offer, what is the actual scarcity element?
Mhm.
Why do they want this now?
Mhm.
Because some people are trying to sell offers
Mhm.
who are not really like, there's no scarcity or urgency around
Mhm.
it. So it's like almost like a commodity thing.
Mhm.
That's why the whole like, oh, I'm gonna help you like train. There's no urgency in
No.
that. Whereas with this, with the whole messaging, and we can go back on YouTube, the whole messaging is your physique will make you 10 times more attractive to women.
Mhm.
Why athlete physiques have the most sex appeal.
Mhm.
How to build, like we're talking about the aura thing,
Mhm.
right? So that's the whole, build the scarcity around that. Like 2026 is close,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Everyone is right now with like AI, everyone is trying to build a business,
Mhm.
everyone is trying, but like, do you actually get respect? Are
Mhm.
you actually someone worthy of respect if I take the cars away from you?
Mhm.
Because we know all of these guys,
Mhm.
right? Are you actually someone worthy of that respect or not? So it's like all of this, and obviously like bonuses included, and we're building
Mhm.
the whole framework for this. So again, for anybody watching, if you want to optimize your physique, you already know who to go to, because
Yeah.
this is going to be like insane. And there are tons and tons of like, just there's so much value in this. But what I love about it is that we condensed it all into a super clean,
Mhm.
clear sort of like brands.
Mhm.
Even talking about like a potential, like in the future, building this into an actual business, and
Yeah.
you like exiting
Yeah.
on an enterprise value.
Mhm.
This allows you to do that
Yeah.
because it's all like, let's build the brand. Let's just not build the typical sort of offer. So yeah, my man, I think we're on track to do some amazing fucking things with this. I know it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to wrap it up, what was kind of like the most, what do you feel like it was the most valuable thing that we worked on or that I helped you with?
Well, obviously, it was the visual aspect of things was very valuable, but even deeper than that, it was the psychology behind why things are done and how things can be positioned in a more premium way. Because again, like I could by myself probably take a year to test everything and maybe get to a conclusion. Like maybe, probably not. But we condensed this in such little time and got so much done and was had so much clarity. Like I actually have a breath of fresh air now. Like I was literally in anxiety mode for the past couple months, just like what the fuck? Like what? How do I package this? How do I transcend the market? How do I, this just made everything clear. And that would be the biggest value that I think any creator or coach or businessman, like, is just clarity.
Yeah.
Clarity is priceless. Like I think the minute you have clarity, you can press go and you can just accelerate. When you don't have clarity and you're going, you feel like you're literally working against like the mud. Like
Yeah.
can't
And you
move.
just sit there, and I went through it myself. Like, you just sit there for months and months and months on end, and you literally lose
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Like you bleed money.
Yeah.
Because the competition. This is why we're building this, because the intention is to even like forget about the competition. Nobody comes close.
There's literally no competition.
Nobody comes close.
I don't know of one person that has, unless they work with you. There's no competition.
That just goes without saying. But anyway, this was a lot of value. Again, if you guys want to literally transform your physique and just become like we say here, a status symbol, we're gonna drop
Not a
links down
beast.
below.
You want to be a beast. You want to be a status symbol.
You want to be a status symbol. Yeah. And I know like Martel got me in the gym, so I can vouch. Like it's there. So it's like, but what I want to also touch to, like, kind of give the give you your flowers with this. It's not the typical fitness bullshit, because even with us, it's like we can eat, like, you can eat a burger.
Yeah.
Like this is what I love about this, because it's literally optimized around the person and the lifestyle,
Yeah.
not the whole gym rat thing,
Mhm.
the gym bro. So yeah, and in terms of, look, if you're an expert like this, or if you want to get to this point, and if you want to build literally, as we say, like the most premium fucking brand in your space, not just the typical funnel, not just the typical VSL that everybody is doing right now, and I'm not gonna drop any names. I'm your guy. So I'm gonna drop a link down below. Hopefully this was useful and helpful. Let's go to the fucking moon. 100 million. Let's go.
100 million.